It was supposed to be just another day. A park, two little girls, and a bully who didn't know he'd just picked the wrong man to mess with. What I didn't know was that stepping in would put me on a collision course with the most dangerous man in the city. And once you're on his list, there's no way off except to take him down. You know what happens when you mess with the wrong kids? At the far end of the park, two little twin girls were pressed against the swings. A bigger boy kept shoving them, trying to knock them into the sand. I stepped forward, closing the space, and stood between them. "Back off, step away," I said. My voice was calm, but there was steel in my eyes. The boy hesitated, then tilted his chin. "Move, they started it." "Name's Ethan," I said slowly. "Try telling the truth." The girls, Harper and Mia, clung to each other's hands. The younger one hid a torn sketchbook behind her back. I crouched down to meet their eyes. "You two okay? Anything hurt?" Harper shook her head. "He ripped my sister's drawing." I held out my hand. Mia passed me the sketchbook, like it was a piece of broken glass. I brushed the grit off and smoothed a page. A bright orange fox folded right down the middle. "These are good," I said, meaning it. "No one gets to treat your work like trash." The boy snorted. "My dad owns half this town." I stood, handed the sketchbook back to Mia. "Then he can afford new manners. Apologize." Silence stretched. Parents glanced over. The boy's friends took a step back. He muttered, "Sorry," then stomped toward the basketball court. "Thank you," Harper whispered. "Anytime," I said. "I've got a daughter, too. If someone messed with her, I'd want a grown-up to step in." From behind us, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Harper!" Mia, a woman, was striding toward us. "Harper! Mia!" The twins broke into smiles and ran straight into the woman's arms. She was sharp, dressed in a fitted blazer, heels clicking against the pavement. Her eyes scanned the scene in a heartbeat. The torn pages, the retreating boy, and me still standing between the girls and the rest of the world. "I'm Olivia," she said, her voice polite but guarded. "And you just made an enemy. You really don't want." My jaw tightened. "Just did what was right." She glanced toward the basketball court, then back at me. "That boy's father is Derek Cole. He doesn't take embarrassment lightly. He retaliates in public and in private." One of the twins, Mia, tugged on my sleeve. "Will you come to our school art day? Please." I gave her a smile. "If visitors are allowed, I'll be there." Olivia's phone buzzed. Her eyes went cold for a second, then softened when she looked back at the girls. "We're leaving," she said to them. Then to me, "Be careful." "Thank you, Mr. Ethan." They both chimed before she ushered them toward a sleek SUV. I watched as they climbed in, Mia hugging the sketchbook tight. The door closed, and I caught my reflection in the tinted glass. Tired eyes, grease under my nails, a faint scar I never explained to anyone. It was just a good deed, nothing more. At least, that's what I told myself. Then a matte black sedan eased up to the curb, paused, and rolled away slow. Too slow. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. I answered. "Mr. Cole? This is Detective Reynolds. Do you have a minute to talk about what happened at Maple Ridge Park and a man named Derek Cole?" I stepped behind the auto shop's bay door. "What's this about, Detective?" "Yesterday's park incident," she said, her tone calm but clipped. "The boy you stopped, his father is Derek Cole. When someone crosses his family, he looks for pressure points. Job. Custody. You've got a daughter, right?" My grip tightened on the phone. "Lily. She's 7. Then listen carefully. If you notice strange cars, people asking odd questions, or a sudden complaint to CPS, call me. Don't try to handle it alone." The call ended. I killed the shop lights and scanned the street. That same matte sedan sat at the corner a second too long before slipping away. By morning, 2 of my appointments canceled without explanation. The third guy who came in asked too many questions about my schedule. And who else had keys to the shop? I stared him down until his questions dried up. That afternoon, Olivia's SUV pulled up again. She stepped out, carrying a paper bag that smelled like coffee and fresh bread. "Thank you for yesterday," she said, setting it on the counter. "And I'm sorry I was short with you. I get protective." "You were protecting your kids," I said. "I get it." She hesitated, then leveled with me. "I lead Hayes Industries. Derek's been circling my company for months. He buys people, leans on banks, spreads rumors. What happened at the park gave him a new angle. Make an example out of the man who embarrassed his son and stood near my daughters. So he scares you to scare me," I said. Her gaze didn't waver. "That's how he plays." A small knock came from the SUV window. The twins were grinning from inside. They jumped out when Olivia waved them over. Harper handed me a clean spiral sketchbook. "For your daughter," she said, "so she can draw with us at the art show." Mia added, "And so you have to come." I smiled, even with the knot in my chest. "We'll be there." As they pulled away, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A voice I didn't recognize. "Mr. Cole, we hear you're open late. Mind if we stop by after dark?" I glanced toward the corner. Same matte sedan. Back again. I slid the deadbolt with a quiet click. "Shop closes at 6, I said, and hung up. The school gym smelled faintly of glue sticks and too much sugar. Kids darted between folding tables, each covered in crayon masterpieces. Lily's small hand was in mine as we stepped inside. It didn't take long for Harper and Mia to spot me. "You came!" Harper beamed, tugging Mia over. They each grabbed one of my hands, like we'd known each other for years. "Come see our foxes." Olivia appeared a moment later, in a deep green blazer. Her hair was pulled back, polished, perfect. But when she knelt to thank Lily for coming, she was just a mom. The moment cracked when a voice sliced through the chatter. "Well, if it isn't the hero from the park." I turned. Derek Cole. Tall, expensive suit, 2 bodyguards at his back. His eyes slid past me to Olivia. "You always did collect strays," he said. "Leave Derek," Olivia replied, ice in her tone. "This is a children's event." But Derek stepped closer to me. "You think you embarrass my boy? You embarrass me. And I don't forget that." I didn't flinch. If your kid learned not to pick on girls, I'd call it a good day. Parents nearby began to notice. Olivia moved between us, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Walk out, or I'll make sure the press hears how you harassed a father and 2 little girls at an elementary school." His smirk slipped, just for a second. Then he leaned in. Pawns get swept off the board, without anyone noticing. He turned and left. Olivia's grip stayed tight on my arm. "You're in it now," she said quietly. "And Derek never plays fair." The very next morning, the attacks began. 2 customers canceled without warning. By noon, my biggest repair job, the one that would have covered next month's rent, vanished. That evening, Lily's school called to verify a complaint about her attendance. The principal's tone made it clear someone was feeding them lies. By the 3rd day, a black SUV I didn't recognize sat across from my shop. 2 men inside, just watching. I walked right up to the curb, rag still in hand, and stared until they drove off. That night, Olivia called. Her voice was tight. "He's escalating. My board just told me 2 investors are pulling out. And I have reason to believe Derek's feeding false stories to the press about both of us." So he's trying to burn us down at the same time, I said. Yes, she replied. But I have a way to end it. Her plan was bold, dangerous. Collect proof of Derek's financial crimes, embezzlement, offshore laundering, bribery, and leak it anonymously to the right media. Until it's public, she warned, we'll be targets. I thought of Lily, of Harper hugging me after the park, like she knew she was safe. I'm in, I said. For the next week, we moved in shadows. Olivia had access to places I couldn't dream of walking into. Boardrooms, secured servers, paper trails buried deep in corporate archives. I had something she didn't. People who owed me favors. Old army buddies, a retired cop. A few guys who knew exactly where to look for dirt when someone wanted it hidden. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together. Bank statements showing offshore transfers. Emails linking Derek to backdoor deals. Photos of meetings he didn't want the world to know about. Every file, every image, another crack in the wall he'd built around himself. One night, after meeting a whistleblower in a dingy diner off the highway, we stepped into the alley. A man was waiting, broad shoulders, cheap leather jacket. One of Derek's. Mr. Cole, he sneered. Maybe you should stick to fixing cars and leave the rest alone. I stepped closer, my voice low, steady. Tell your boss, if he so much as looks at those girls again, I'll forget I'm trying to be civil. He didn't answer, just backed into the dark, like the shadows had swallowed him whole. Olivia didn't speak for a moment, but I saw it in her eyes, the faintest glint of respect. The leak hit the news before sunrise. By 9 a.m., Derek Cole's face was plastered across every local channel. Words like embezzlement, bribery, fraud scrolled beneath him. Reporters swarmed outside his office. His company's stock tanked before lunch. Detective Reynolds called me personally. He's done. Federal agents have him in custody. You and your daughter are in the clear. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled without feeling like I was watching my own back. I drove to the shop, half expecting the black SUV to be there. It wasn't. The street was quiet, like nothing had ever happened. That evening, headlights swept across the bay. Olivia's familiar SUV rolled in. The twins jumped out first, each holding a covered dish. We brought dinner. Mia announced like it was breaking news. Harper handed Lily a brand new sketchbook, the same kind Derek's son had ruined. Now you can draw with us, she said proudly. Mia grinned. And we made something for you too. She unrolled a large sheet of paper. It was me, standing in front of the twins and Lily. Above us, in looping letters, our hero. I swallowed hard. This means a lot. Olivia stood nearby, watching. The steel in her eyes had softened. You didn't have to step in that day at the park, she said quietly. But you did, and you stayed when it got ugly. That's rare. I smiled. They're worth standing for. We set the food out on the hood of a car. The girls laughed over spilled soda, trading stories like they'd known each other forever. Olivia sat across from me, the tension that had hung between us replaced with something warmer. For a while, there were no shadows, no threats, just a table on a car hood, 4 kids, 2 adults, and the kind of quiet you don't realize you've been missing until it's back. I glanced at the 3 girls, my Lily, Harper, Mia, heads bent together over a sketchbook, like nothing in the world could touch them. And maybe, after everything, nothing ever would again.